Mindslayers got you in a bad way. Let's sort these boys out. Hey boys, how's it going? We're on retail right now, just to grab some easy footage of the raid without having to solo it on classic, because I don't think that's going to be doable. And also so we can use raid markers as well. So the main mob we're going to be focusing on today well, the real mob that is difficult within these packs that causes problems is the green spider people looking boys, the Mindslayers. Positioning for the raid in this room at this start bit, you want to have your healers and all of your range sitting around here, somewhere around here. Now let's talk about the Mindslayer's abilities. So the Mindslayer has a Mind Blast, which is just a cast that does damage. It's not too threatening. They have a Mind Flay, which can cause a lot of problems. This will go out on a random player and they will just sit still and channel it. Quite often they spam it out for quite a while, so moving them after that point is very difficult because that cast is non-interruptible. They have a horror effect, which happens as they die. It's also a mana burn. This is AoE, and it will, I think it's about a 30-yard radius. It's very, very big. And they also have a mind control as well. Now, these mobs, the main problem is that if they come into the raid and then they die, they fear everyone and everything gets very messy. And then mind control also causes problems as well. A little trick that you can use is Warlock's Curse of Recklessness makes you immune to horror effects. So if any of your tanks or any of your melee DPS get under the effects of this mind control, make sure that they get a Curse of Recklessness up on them, and that will make them immune throughout the fight to the horror effect. Just make sure that you've not got any druids in the group cleansing that off. What I would suggest for these packs, if we imagine that we had... let's say we had a pack that had one Slayer, which is the winged mobs, and 3 Mindslayers and 1 champion. What I would ideally like to do in that situation is have the Slayer killed first, have 1 tank on that target, drag it over to maybe the moon marker, have the rest of the Mindslayers tanked here, and the first kill target Mindslayer tanked here. It can be a very nice idea to try and have 2 tanks on each of the Mindslayers. This means that if the main tank on that Mindslayer gets mind controlled, it's not going to randomly run into the raid, it's going to sit on the next target. If the Mindslayers go into the raid or a bad position, it can be very, very difficult to drag them out because of their casts. When the Mindslayer is being killed here, the melee DPS can move out at about 20% and line of sight the AoE horror effect that comes from it. If you get some packs where you have 4 Mindslayers and 1 champion, it can be a good idea to tank the champion down here, Mindslayers in the doorway, and the first kill target Mindslayer here. First kill priority in that situation, I would like to kill the champion first. That gives the tanks time to build some threat up on the Mindslayers and means they're way less likely to come into the raid and start causing problems with their AoE horrors once they die. On the packs where you have 2 Slayers and 2 Mindslayers, try tanking one of the Slayers on Moon, one of the Slayers on Triangle, a Mindslayer on Cross, and a Mindslayer on Skull. Kill one of the Slayers first, and then go over to the Mindslayers, just to give the tanks like an aggro window, so that you don't get any of those threat drops happening where they run into the raid. We're going to move up the raid now, because there's a few other good positions in these tunnels and towards the Uru room, where you've got like a half decent line of sight spot, so we're going to have a look at those next. After you've taken around 3 of the packs, it starts becoming a bit uncomfortable doing the hunter pet pulls. I mean, you can still do it, but it's a long way to go. If you want to move up, there's a nice position around about here. You can take the Mindslayer kill spot here, and then it's quite easy for your DPS to run around the side here. The tank that's tanking them can also run around the back here and dodge the AoE fear that comes out if they're fast enough. The other Mindslayers can be tanked here. You can take a Slayer there, champion can be tanked there, and a Slayer can be tanked somewhere around there. Just utilize the space that you've got here to tank the other mobs. The Mindslayers are the ones that take the most thinking about and correct positioning. As a tank in these fights, if your target gets killed, say for example you're taking a Slayer on square, when that target's dead, I would definitely just sit in the raid and just play goalkeeper for when things drop aggro, because the Slayers do an aggro drop as well. So if you don't have enough warriors or tanking druids to have like a backup on those Slayers as well, just sit in the raid and get ready to drag them out because they do a horrible cleave. The same with the champions as well, because they do a fear, and if the tank that's tanking those can't get fear immunity, it's definitely a good idea just to sit in raid and peel for your raid. This is another nice spot in this room that you can use. You can tank the first Mindslayer on this skull marker and have the other Mindslayers being tanked on cross. When Skull is about to die, the melee DPS can dip around this corner here and avoid the AoE fear, and then they can move over to cross. If you've only got one Mindslayer left after that one dies, if you have any left at all, then you can just kill it where it is. But if you've got multiple ones, I would definitely try and drag one kill target round to triangle so it doesn't get people that cross feared. Range also need to make sure that they are out of range of cross so they don't get AoE horrid there. There we go, that's going to wrap up this short video on the Mindslayers. I hope it's helped out a little bit. Leave a comment down below if you have any tips or tricks, and let me know what your guild has been using to get past these mobs. I stream 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday and Friday, so it'd be nice to see you there. And until next time, keep on blasting.
Come on, nice loot today, man. Give us some nice loot today, man. No way. Dark Edge of Insanity. Death Sting. And Vanquish Tentacle.